Feels good to be back. Another episode of the Inner Circle podcast. Oh man, XO18 is right around the corner. Today is our prediction show, and I can't wait to break down what Microsoft could be doing. I really want to do something a little bit different. I think for XO18, I'm going to try to do episode or maybe like a reaction episode during XO18. I'm going to figure out a way to stream the show on the channel while also doing a show live. Maybe I'll invite a few guests. If some of the team is available during that time, we'll try to get them in as well. But for the most part, I definitely want to do a live show for this event. I didn't want to hype it up. I really didn't. I don't want to get hyped. I know Microsoft. I know how Microsoft does. I don't want to get my expectations high. Sam is like my conscience. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody else, all you Xbox guys out there, like the little devil on my shoulder. Man, I'm so hyped. It's gonna be like 55 studios Microsoft is going to buy. It's going to be amazing. They're going to be so great next generation. And Sam's on my shoulder like, man, throw that out the window. Same thing with me. B's on my shoulder like, man, all I want to see is games. If they ain't talking games, I don't want to hear it. Like this is my conscience right now. And I'm kind of torn between the two because I'm hype. So definitely excited for it. But before we jump into that, man, let's talk about what we're playing lately. As always, I love diving into what guys are playing. So first, we have our guest with us, Delilah HD.
Yes.
What's going on?
Good. I'm glad to be here. I've been trying to get on tape for a minute. So I'm just, glad to be here. As far as what I'm playing, I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2, awesome game. And I'm also on Darksiders 2, trying to get ready for Darksiders 3. So yeah,
I love Darksiders. That's a great franchise.
I'm a Zelda fan, so for me, it's it comes together pretty nice in that franchise.
Yeah, absolutely, awesome franchise. I don't know. I'm stuck on whether or not I want to get 3 for my own personal reasons, but I love the first one and I like the second one.
Yeah, for me, I want to support the game because I feel like it's not going to do that well, So I'm feel like I'm gonna do my part and just try to support it. And also, I'm interested in the story because the way they left. I already beat it and played the first one and beat that as well. But I'm just kind of refresh myself on the mechanics. I think it's going to be similar. So yeah, yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome. B, what you been playing lately?
Man, all I've been doing is life in Red Dead. I'm in chapter 6 now. I just got there like right before the show started. So really enjoying Red Dead, and that's pretty much all I've been playing, man. That's the only game anybody should be playing right now, in my opinion.
B said he just got to chapter 6 right before the show started. He was like, "What? 10:30? I got 5 more minutes." Go ahead and finish this chapter real quick. Finish this mission, and I'll hop in there when it's ready. Red Dead comes first, no doubt. Sam, what you been playing lately?
Shockingly enough, I'll co-sign with my man B and what Delilah said. Just Red Dead 2. This is a gaming event of the generation.
Yeah,
this is one of those 2 or 3 games that defines everything we've learned and everything developers have learned in the console cycle. It's incredible. It's stunning. It looks gorgeous. It has improved gunplay over previous Rockstar titles. I honestly believe it has the best plot, of any Rockstar game. Period. I honestly believe that so far. I'm in chapter 4, so I'm a little behind B, but yeah. What are you doing? Go play it. Go pick it up right now. That's all there is to it. Everyone needs to be playing this.
Well, me personally, man, I've been playing Red Dead as well. I've been a little bit behind due to family struggles and reasons, but I've enjoyed myself so far. Some of the highlights that I think I like about the game so far has been a lot of the random people that you find in different places. Like you go on a mission and you pass somebody and they're in the woods begging for help, or they're sick or something like that, or you need to stop a particular crime, or you're trying to save somebody from something. I find that really cool and real interesting. The other thing that I like is the realism that they tried to implement in the game. Like the scene where the 2 guys are fighting outside of the bar. And he's yelling at the guy. He's like, man, it was just a peck on the neck, like a small kiss to this guy's wife. But the guy's so mad. And he's like, you know what? Matter of fact, after I'm done, after he knocks the guy out, he's going to actually go back and do something else with his wife, which was implied. And I was just like watching this. And it's like, do you want to break this up? And I'm like, Nah, I'm gonna watch this play out. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead and watch this play out.
This
I'm
ain't
not,
my business.
yeah, I'm not. No honor points for me, sir. No, we're gonna go ahead and watch this happen. So, definitely interesting the things that they got going on in that game. Very realistic with that world overall. But I'm pretty set, man. I don't know what to play next after Red Dead. I think I'm gonna want to play Red Dead all the way into Anthem.
Wow. That's like mid-February.
Yeah, no, but it
No,
really
March.
is.
I think doesn't Anthem come out?
It's
February.
like February.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I can see myself doing that. I do have what is that game called? Divinity Original Sin 2.
Okay.
And I still have Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which I was in like halfway through with that game before I put that down for Red Dead. And still a little bit of Destiny, which I've pretty completely abandoned at this point. But yeah, no, Red Dead seems the type of game where it's like there's so much to explore, so much to discover. I can see myself playing that game for the next couple months. Depending on how big it is and how many side quests there are in the game. If I really want to be a completionist, we'll see how it all turns out.
What chapter are you on right now?
2.
2?
Yeah, I'm only on chapter 2. Again, like I said, the wife had 3 days off. That's like 3 days off with my wife is like 3 days of no games.
Hey, look, don't feel bad. I'm in chapter 2 as well, and it's because my work week is insane.
Yeah.
So 40, 50-hour work week.
Not to downplay my wife. I am very happy to have a wife. Just in case she happens to listen to this conversation, I'm very happy and grateful. Absolutely grateful to have a wife because there's a lot of people out there who don't have anybody.
Yeah.
But when your wife isn't a gamer, it can be frustrating at times. You know what I'm saying? So it's just funny overall. But listen, let's jump into the show. A lot to discuss, a lot to talk about. I want to thank everybody for stopping out and hanging out with us tonight. Make sure you check out all the other shows over the last week for Tick Podcast, as we've had a lot of guests on as we try to bring in and find new people to join the team for the new premiere podcast for Xbox Squad. And let's talk about XO18 and see if we can predict some stuff. So here we go. Welcome to the Inner Circle Podcast, the premier podcast for Xbox. I'm your host, KRS with B Money 101.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Darwa 484.
Hey, everybody. Good to be here.
And Delilah HD.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
And we are your Inner Circle. So listen, it's been a long time since Microsoft has really came out with anything that has been remotely hyped for them. And I got to say, man, as much as I really want Microsoft to show out at this XO18 event, I want to temper my expectations. I'm seeing Game Pass out here hyping stuff, and I don't know what you could put on Game Pass that could be so amazing. It might be hype for them, but it's not going to be hype for me unless it's like something massive, like a big AAA game is releasing the same day at launch. Like if they came out and said something like, you're going to be able to get like Anthem at launch, or you're going to be able to get like the next Elder Scrolls or that Starfield game at launch on Game Pass, I'm with you. That's mind-boggling. But if it's something like, oh, you're going to get Ashen, I'm like, okay, that's cool. But I don't think it's worth the hype stickers that they had on the preview on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? So we want to talk about our predictions for the show, our hype levels for the show, and what we think Xbox fans, what their level should be for the show. So, over the past week, obviously Red Dead came out. Big news about Microsoft and their Xbox One X's being sold out the wazoo thanks to Red Dead and the whole 4K situation, which is very shocking to me and very surprising. I think they could capitalize on XO18 with everything happening and, all the good publicity they've been getting lately thanks to Red Dead Redemption. But, what do you guys think Microsoft needs to do to have a good show without it being on the hype level of an E3? Because we know when you go to E3, you have to you expect to be hyped because you expect new things there. I don't know if XO18 is meant to be that, but I think that it should be like a baby E3. What do you guys think needs to happen at this show so that way it's not underwhelming?
Delilah, since you're our guest, why don't you go first on this?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. what does Microsoft need to do in order to kind of save themselves from overhyping this and failing miserably? I would say they need to have Splinter Cell because I think that would kind of we've been waiting on that for a long time as Xbox gamers. And shoot, all platforms. In that regard for Splinter Cell, they need to at least have. I would say a couple studio acquisitions. I mean, we've been hearing rumors a lot about Obsidian and now Turtle Rock. So hopefully, they can kind of announce some along those lines and maybe show a couple sneak peeks of some like IPs that we haven't heard of or haven't seen. Show us what Playground is working on, maybe like something fresh, something new that wasn't really shown at E3. And then lastly, I think they need to show Crackdown like in its full form because the game it releases in February. We should already have seen the multiplayer, in my opinion. We should already have seen a lot of the single player. And so, for me, they haven't showed much of any of that, and with good reason, because it's been getting bashed a lot. So I understand why they're keeping it, tight, but I really want them to show more. So yeah, that's what I think.
Sam,
Okay.
what you got, man?
So basically, I think Baby E3 is a very good way of putting this. I don't think it's going to be focused on new stuff, but I think they can make this a blowout of stuff that that we already know about. Like Delilah said, Crackdown 3, we should have already seen it, but since we haven't, we need to see a lot of it. Multiplayer, we need to see it. Campaign, we need to see it. How this works, how progression works, how orbs enhance your character, we need to see it. Name it, we need to see it. We need a blowout for that game. And look, I hope even now, shout out to my man Clobril out there, hyping up Crackdown with every post now on Twitter. Like, I hope it's right. Look, dude, I hope he's right. I really do. I hope he's absolutely right, and the game is fantastic. So hey, I guess we'll find out about that in a few days. But beyond Crackdown 3, Ori, we know that's 2019, but it doesn't have a release date. So show a new trailer, give it an exact release date. Ashen, the developers are insisting that's still a 2018 game. So, okay, drop it. Let's go. Get it in Game Pass. Let's go. Have that. Get a couple of other games in Game Pass. They own Ninja Theory now. So Hellblade would be an awesome addition. That would be a great way to get some more people who haven't played that game to play it now. I'm trying to think what else. The Cuphead DLC, Battletoads, that kind of stuff. We know that's coming like first half next year, something like that. So that would be fantastic stuff to show as well. Give that a release date or a release window. Actually showing off Battletoads gameplay would be really cool because we have an idea of what it might be like, but we don't really know what the gameplay will be like or what split screen or couch co-op is going to function with that, and if it's just couch co-op versus online. And last but most certainly not least, Obsidian. Jason Schreier has already reported on it, which basically means it's as good as done. So yeah, let's see it. Let's see it happen. Welcome them into the family. And with that in mind, I was talking with my friend Nick, who's a fellow editor on the site, and he had a great idea. Microsoft needs to frame all these acquisitions as we're saving developers from financial oblivion. Look at this.
Come on.
Obsidian. No, I'm serious. No, hang on. Listen here. Obsidian, these guys, maybe they weren't doing so well. Now we help them out. Ninja Theory, they were faced with, not sure if the studio is going to be around in a couple of years. Same with Undead Labs. Microsoft is reaching a hand out to these studios and giving them that support that they need. And that's a very positive message to frame yourself with. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Mostly stuff we already know about, but with maybe one or two small surprises. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think they just really need one or two small surprises. We all know that Obsidian is going to be acquired and will be a new first-party studio. So if they just announce that as the only acquisition, I'm good with that. You know what I mean? I don't really need to see too many more acquisitions.
Right.
I'm ready to see games at this point. So, like you guys said, I think Crackdown needs to be seen in a big way. We haven't really seen any of the single-player stuff. As far as them going back and kind of revamping it as rumors that we heard like earlier in the year. And we definitely need to see the multiplayer stuff. So that is something that should be there. And I predict that it will be there in a big way. And since it's supposed to hit in the first quarter of the year, we may see an extended gameplay of that. I would expect. As far as like the Game Pass stuff, Ashen is definitely going to be announced there and available. The day of the announcement. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see some Japanese games also be added to Game Pass at XO. Phil did talk about a lot of the third parties would be there in a big way. I think that would also play a major factor. If they could get some of the bigger Japanese games that just haven't hit Xbox yet, if they could go into Game Pass, that would be perfect going into the holiday season. Great way to kind of frame that. Going in the holiday. And I think as long as you show something from first party, whether it be, the Battletoads or, the Rumor Banjo game or maybe Perfect Dark, just something, because at the end of the day, this is a fan event. So got to provide some fan service. And I think if you, give us one game or two games that fans have been asking for a long time, that might satisfy, your fan base. So, right. I'm not going to get too hyped up on it. I've been tempering my expectations. But as long as they just give us one or two surprises and then just provide us with games, I'll be good.
Right. It's a step up above doing nothing for sure. And they have a real opportunity here with PSX not being here and for them to, keep themselves in the conversation 6 months out from E3 so that things keep on going. News keeps on going. Fame. Shout out to my man Fame in the chat, actually brought up a great point with mouse and keyboard support coming as well. We know that they already talked about that on Inside Xbox with the Razer partnership. Yeah, we'll probably see some license sets there of like official, here's if you want to do it, no XIM nonsense, like here's how you actually do mouse and keyboard on console. We'll probably also see a couple of games come over as a result of mouse and keyboard support, like Total War or Frostpunk or things like that.
What about Age of Empires?
Age of Empires Definitive Edition needs to come over. Gears Tactics needs to be Xbox as well. No excuse for that. Yeah, that kind of thing. Absolutely.
I don't care about keyboard and mouse. I really don't.
Me either.
Like I get Microsoft's ideals. You know what I'm saying? Like I get it. You are a PC company. You are really desperately. And I know some Xbox fans might not like the word that I'm using, but you are truly desperately trying to capture some sort of PC audience that is completely consumed with Steam. It really is. Like, you know what's funny to me? The funny thing to me is that when they announced Sunset Overdrive going to PC, you seen a plethora of people was like, man, that was the only game. That was the only game that I wanted that was on the Xbox. And it's come to PC, so I don't have to get an Xbox. Like, bruh, that game been out for like 4 years. If you wasn't trying to get an Xbox when it was at its cheapest, you was never getting an Xbox. Period. At this point,
right?
And then the funny thing is that game probably won't even go to Steam, at least not initially. More than likely, it'll probably be on the Windows Store or have something to do with Windows 10 that it can't be used on Windows 7. You know how Microsoft does because they have the publishing rights. So they are really doing their best or trying their best to capture this PC audience. And this mouse and keyboard thing is another attempt to capture the PC audience. Because I feel like if you're a PC gamer and you are truly gaming on a PC, you honestly probably don't have a need for an Xbox or an Xbox One X. Honestly. Like if you're a PC gamer, why jump ship and go to an Xbox platform?
Red Dead Redemption 2.
That's only one thing. Just get the box. That's one small item, but just that you get the box for that, obviously. But at the end of the day, your goal is I'm trying to look at it from the perspective of how does keyboard and mouse support help Microsoft's Xbox in the long run as a platform is my thing. So that's why I look at it from the perspective like I don't really think that's a big of a deal as big a deal as Microsoft is trying to make it out to be. Now, I think studio acquisitions are a big deal for a number of reasons. Delilah used to kill me earlier in the generation. She used to be like, why are you crapping on Xbox or, this, that, and the third. You don't remember?
You had your reasons.
I had reasons. Yeah.
Because we all were.
Yeah.
And I was really, unhappy with the direction it was going in. So, I was with...
Right. And I used to just be like, it's just because I didn't like being myself. We used to get on Microsoft a lot. When I even had Xbox fans like, man, just flip. Just go to PlayStation.
RPGs, go over there. You want Japanese games, go over there.
Right, like don't you're not gonna get it here, stuff like that. Like just flip and go to PlayStation. I'm like, that's not what we want out of this platform. You understand? As people who grew up on the OG Xbox and 360 in particular, there was something about the platform that captured me in comparison to when I was playing on the PS2 and the PS3. And it was a lot of first-party games, even though first-party wasn't as big, and that's according to the big honcho that I know that put me on over there at Xbox. That first party wasn't as big as we had made it out to be, but it was because they had such a great third-party selection of titles. And that kind of reminds me of what PS4 has done this generation. Because when you look at their first-party output, they've had 2, maybe 3 really major titles, like 2 or 3 real big titles, which is like Horizon Zero Dawn, The Last of Us Remastered, and then, of course, God of War. Now, on the flip side of that, you could talk about the Uncharted, you could talk about the Kill Zones and the Ratchet and Clanks and a bunch of other games. But a good portion of their biggest, highest rated titles really came from third party. And that's how 360 was with me with Xbox. Because remember, Mass Effect was exclusive at one point. BioShock was exclusive at one point. You still had the RPGs like the Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon. And I was really like enamored with the 360 because they just had all of these games that was coming out, and then over the generation, it kind of, started to fade off. So when you look at this generation, me and B would constantly talk about first party. And we were like, why doesn't Microsoft let 343 or the Coalition or even the Forza team make something else besides Halo, Gears, and Forza? And the only thing we ever got was, nah, you can't stop Halo. Halo can't take a break. And we like, why? Like, we don't get it. Like, why? Why? What's the point? Like, you can still do Halo, just get a small second team and start working on a different project. With that talent and that engine, you can build something different or whatever. Now we look at Microsoft all these years later, and you just hearing them, we got this studio and this studio's coming and that studio's coming and we got Game Pass. And it really brings a good sense of fulfillment after all the years of us talking about it. So for me with XO18, I think the biggest thing for me is that the Obsidian deal is real. For me, I feel like if the Obsidian deal isn't real, I'm going to be absolutely devastated. Even, just because of the simple fact that I'm an RPG guy, a big RPG guy. So Microsoft not having an exclusive Western RPG this generation has been tough. I love the Fable series. Mass Effect was big for me. Knights of the Old Republic was big for me on the OG and the 360. So for me, looking at it from that perspective, Microsoft truly needs to get back to what they do great. It's the reason why Elder Scrolls did so well on the Xbox platform. Fallout does so well. Bethesda has a great relationship with these guys. They do so well on the Xbox platform because Microsoft has like this PC base. You know what I'm saying? So when you have this PC base, you kind of have this Western RPG type style, this D&D type style when it comes to your base and people who love those games. JRPGs is a completely different sort of subclass of that, and that's why we don't do as well. But when you look at the other RPGs, they do extremely well. So Obsidian coming over really could give them the potential to really truly create a new Western style RPG in the likes of a Mass Effect or a KOTOR or a Jade Empire or something like that, while also still keeping those little CRPGs that they make in the PC realm, because they would have the money to do these bigger projects as well as still have a large enough team to do 2 projects at the same time. So for me, that's bigger than anything. If they can do that, XO18 by itself, that alone is a win in my book.
Yeah, you talking about like just the Obsidian announcement alone?
Yeah,
absolutely. I agree. I absolutely agree. Obsidian is an old name in the RPG space. They're a meaningful name. Right. If Microsoft can prop them up, let them hire more, and finally give them a big budget to work with, Obsidian can make some crazy stuff. Obsidian can do some great things.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I just feel like this is one of the suitors that they truly need. I'm happy with the Turnton guys if they are working on Fable, doing Fable, just based on what they've done with the Horizon series. And from that perspective, I don't mean they're driving. I just mean when you look at the overall world that they've built, the time, this like the dynamic time, well, not dynamic weather, but the changing of the seasons. When you think about how they could probably implement that into an open world setting, have the seasons change on you, have night and day going on you, have these big open vast landscapes that they've been creating for like X amount of years since the original
I'm the only one that think they're not comfortable with playground games making RPGs. Like, I just feel like they've got their bread and butter. Like their bread and butter is like racing games. Why would you want them focusing on RPGs? I feel like Obsidian to me would be a better development studio to take on Fable.
Because it's a second studio they're building. They only moved over a handful of the core senior staff, and they're hiring veterans from some of the top studios in the world. They got guys from who worked at Ninja Theory on Hellblade, some of the combat mechanics designers from Guerrilla Games who worked on Horizon Zero Dawn, CD Projekt Red, Kojima Productions even. They grabbed a few of their staff. Like, they have an incredible senior leadership at their second team that is clearly...
But there's something to be said about team chemistry. You know what I mean? So like if you someone like Obsidian, to me, they've worked together, they've made these games together, they've already meshed together to make big, huge budget games. So to me, I feel more comfortable with them taking on something than filling out a team.
You know why Playground makes a good studio to do it? It's because they're already in the UK.
See, I knew you was gonna say that. I had a feeling because of the cheeky Fable UK
humor. It is. I mean, it keeps in. It keeps in with the culture of what that game is. It is truly a British game with British humor. I feel like
that can be done. That can still be done with a Western studio. To me,
I don't know.
Successfully, because I look at the RPG elements as being the most important part of the game versus the humor that Fable had. I was more, enamored by that than the humor and passing gas and kicking chickens and stuff like that.
I agree.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too.
Like
all the like goofy stuff I was never really impressed with.
Right.
I mean, I understood it. It was, cool stuff to laugh at every now and again, but the RPG elements is what I was there for. And
right.
I feel like any studio who can work on RPGs, I would trust to do that. And that's why, everybody thinks, that they're working on Fable, and they possibly could be. But I always felt like, if they weren't working on Fable, then just let them make their own game.
Right.
Whether it's an RPG or action game or whatever the case may be. I feel like Playground has the ability to get out there and make something great other than just racing games.
Right.
I mean, honestly, I hope it's not Fable for them, for Playground.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. If it is Fable, I don't think it's going to be Fable like the old Lionhead games. I don't think we'd be seeing that kind of goofy stuff. I think it would be their take on
the splitting the audience immediately. Like you're saying, okay, the people who like the cheeky stuff and the fun part of Fable that was really into that, you're splitting them from the people that like the serious part of Fable.
Oh, well.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, well, too bad. Because I have extreme doubts that the people who were there for the kicking chickens and passing gas are the majority or even anything close to a large percent of the audience interested in RPGs. And even if they were a significant, serious, at least somewhat serious in tone, you can have sarcastic humor and whatnot, Western RPG that's well designed around action mechanics and tactical stuff and all that sort of thing is going to draw in even more people to the platform than would have been missed otherwise.
All I want from this game is for it to have a great selection and choices that matter, that make an impact not only on your character, but the people in the world in the direction that you go down the lines, like something impactful. I don't want like this little cheesy sort of thing that it impacts you in a way where the impact is either too extreme or not extreme enough. There has to be a certain level of balance. I would like for those games to be all interconnected somehow, some way. I think that's the one thing where they kind of lost me with the Fable series, where it was like you would do something in the first game and none of that really carried over to the next game. So I would want them to,
because it was like huge gaps in between games, like generational gaps.
Right.
So I think that's part of the reason as to why. But
Right. So I want them to honestly, if I could have it done, I would like them just to reboot the entire thing. Like I never was a fan of the art style. Honestly, I would like them to change the art style, but I doubt they'll do that. If they do it, hopefully, Microsoft has said they can. If they did get the game, they can build it the way they want to, and hopefully they've done that. But I know that there's some things they'll try to keep that Fable flair. But honestly, I just want them to make a new Fable. It should be like how God of War is. And what I mean by that is when you buy God of War for PS4, it just says God of War, not God of War 4, not God of War, the father of Artemis. You know what I'm saying? Artemis. Like it's just God of War. Like that's what Fable should be. Fable should come out as just Fable. Like we are rebooting the franchise. This is the new direction we're going. This is what this is. And this is how the world's going to be. And I truly hope that Microsoft Studios, when they do start making games, with all these different studios, that they share their technology, because with Sea of Thieves, the way their dynamic clouds work, I can't talk enough about the way their clouds work in their game. The way it opens up, the way it closes, the way storms move in and move out, the way light shines through a sun. They truly have one of the best dynamic weather systems
Okay,
in,
cool. Okay,
in
so
any
you
game.
say that about Sea of Thieves, but at the sacrifice of what though? The game has no substance. Like that's
What,
how.
Sea of Thieves?
Yes, I look at Sea of Thieves and completely. To me, it's a shallow game.
Nah, I
Very
guess you haven't
shallow.
played it lately. Sea of
Well,
Thieves
I
is
mean,
like a full-fledged game at this point.
don't get it twisted. Like I've played it. I've enjoyed it, enjoyed elements of the game. I've enjoyed playing it with my friends, things like that. But I always felt like they kind of bamboozled everybody with that game.
Look, when we had this conversation with Craig on the show, we talked about that. We talked about how we felt like as much as you want to sit there and say that it's up to the gamer to create the fun and how much fun that is over time. And I hate to say this about gamers, but gamers are like all gamers are like you have ADHD. You know what I'm saying? Like you literally have a limited attention span for a limited time. And if you're not captured by whatever it is you're playing, you are moving on to the next thing. You're not going to sit there and waste time in a particular game. And me and Sam, we were talking about like, are you going to have like NPCs in the game? There should be like Navy ships from like the Armada, from the British Armada on the sea trying to chase you down. There should be ghost ships. And they're like, nah.
All that stuff you're naming, they sold you a preview game and then they added that stuff later. And to me, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
I get it. I think they looked at it from the perspective that
$60. Let's be real. The game was $60. They shouldn't have charged $60 for that game.
Yeah, but you're not paying for anything going forward. All the DLC is free, and it's free on Game Pass. So if you own the game, at least you get all that content and all future content for free. It does suck that they sold it in a way where it was very shallow, as far as the content is concerned overall. But I honestly can never say that the game isn't a good game. I can say that it's limited based on the content, but it's not a bad game overall. I like the game personally a lot.
I'm not saying the game is bad game. I'm just saying it's not enough like content for me to enjoy.
Yeah, I got you.
But
I think that but they've done some things with that world that they could use in other games. Like what they've done with that water. Remember that water was in what's the name of those games? Those Connect games? Connect Sports Rivals. When you had the jet ski, that water that was in Sea of Thieves was actually in Connect Sports Rivals, and they used that for that particular game mode. And now they converted that over into Sea of Thieves, as well as PUBG. PUBG also is getting the water from Rare for their water, which is kind of crazy in itself. So hopefully we can see those type of things end up in a game like Fable with Playground, and maybe they can work on using their dynamic, weather along with Rare's water effects and maybe their cloud effects and their sunlight effects. It could build a beautiful open world. I think those type of things should be shared among studios.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think we'll see them sharing tech moving forward. I think that's one of the big reasons 343 has been working on the Slip Space engine for so much time now, because you'll see other studios besides 343 using that engine and using that tech.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll see, man. I don't know. I just hope that whatever studios get announced, Obsidian is one of them. Now, if Obsidian is announced, right? We got that out the way. Let's just say Obsidian is announced.
Sure.
If they show gameplay of Battletoads, is that a big deal?
Yes.
It depends on the scale of the game, I think. I think if it's gonna be like a small like arcade title type game where it's, you know,
side scroller, beat 'em up kind of.
Yeah, like a smaller budget title game, you know, just a side scroller. You know, you get your three guys on there to run through the game, and it's, you know, only a couple of missions long, and you can beat it in like 3 hours. Then probably not. You know what I mean? Like,
what if it's a Game Pass game? Like it's like that side scroller beat 'em up, but it's a Game Pass game. Like,
it'll definitely be Game Pass game.
They said it's in Game Pass. Like, it had the Game Pass logo at E3.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, it's like, okay, it could be as small as they want to, because they can always, you know, like Khalil said, they can just patch it all day long and extend the game. So if that's good enough for Game Pass for that type of game, then that's fine, I guess.
I think Battletoads would be dope. I don't know if I feel like Battletoads was great back in the day because it was a difficult game, right?
And it was only difficult because it was coded bad.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't difficult because it was difficult. It was just coded bad.
Right. But here's the thing, though. Battletoads was never Ninja Turtles.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're right.
So I don't know, like, if the cult following for Battletoads is as big as Ninja Turtles. Now, the problem with Ninja Turtles is that we've had so many people trying to revamp that franchise that every time they've done it, it's faltered in every way possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what they try to do to try to recapture the greatest Ninja Turtles game of all time, in my opinion, it's like either Turtles Take Manhattan or Turtles in Time. But Turtles in Time was incredible, you know. But Turtles Take Manhattan was dope as well. But it's hard to recreate that. So I don't know if Battletoads will be able to do it. But if they're able to code the game right, put in the kookiness of the original game with the big battering ram head and the big fist and the big spike boot.
Oh, come on, you know it's gonna be there. I mean,
right. And they have great animation to go with it. If they make it cartoony, like a Cuphead, I think it works. Side scrolling, beat 'em up. But how do you do that in a co-op? It's got to be like a 3/4 view. Actually, I don't think side scrolling works with that game.
So did you play the Turtles in Time game that was last gen?
Oh, the new one? No, I only remember the old one. I know they remastered it, but not just the old one.
So if they did it similar to that, then I think they'll be fine.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree.
Right, I agree. So, all right. So look, let's put it like this. So Battletoads ain't a big deal. So let's take that down a notch. All right. So you got Obsidian gets announced. That's cool. That's huge. Battletoads not a big deal. Now you got Game Pass over here hyping stuff up. I love Game Pass. I think Game Pass is a great service. It's done great for Microsoft. Clearly, we've seen the success that Game Pass has had for the platform. But they're hyping up some games coming to the platform. Is Ashen going to be big enough for the hype level of everybody? Now, it's rumored also, keep in mind, it is also rumored that Below may be announced at XO18 as well.
Below. Wow. Yeah, well, I've played Below 2 E3s in a row. It's like
facts. Two?
Yeah,
so it's only
exactly.
Two? Yeah, that was like 4.
The drop already. It's like you can barely see what's on the screen. I don't know. I'm no longer a hype for Below, and I think they should just drop it and give it out for free. Because, like, for me, it's not doing it. It's not appealing to me anymore. So, yeah. But if they, wow, I mean, you kind of lost me with Below. But if they did something along the lines, like you said, with the beat 'em up for Battletoads, and if it's in the Cuphead style, then yeah, I think it'd be great. But you also mentioned that if I think someone mentioned Banjo earlier. Like if Banjo was part of the announcement, I think that'd be good too, or big, because I just think nostalgia factor will play a part.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I think that'd actually be like the perfect like Triple Crown. You know what I mean? If it was Ash and Below, and then if it was just like a remake or like a high def remaster where they totally did all the assets over for Banjo, and just threw it in Game Pass, and you know, I mean, just to celebrate the anniversary because it is the anniversary this year. So, if they did that, you know, that would be cool.
And what if they announced Ori? Like, cause they haven't announced Ori being on Game Pass yet for some reason.
I don't know, but Ori comes out next year.
Yeah, so I actually asked about that, and from what I understand, it's because that deal was cut before Game Pass was a thing. So they're renegotiating on the contract side of stuff.
For what, Ori?
Yeah, with Ori.
Don't does Microsoft own Ori?
They own the IP. They do not own the studio. Yeah, but
Right.
But in other words, but Ori and the Will of the Wisp. In other words, the contract for that was inked out and everything was signed, sealed, and delivered. Apart from the game being finished before Game Pass, you know, Microsoft Studios games coming to Game Pass was a thing. So they're renegotiating.
Yeah, that sound like it's like a cop-out answer. That's what it sounds like. It's like a straight cop-out
All right, well, I mean,
answer.
you can tell Thomas Mahler that.
Because I mean, if it's a first-party published game, I don't understand why it won't be on Game Pass. So.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be on Game Pass. It's just, it's one of the reasons why I don't like Microsoft working with third parties when it comes to first-party content. I can't talk enough about that. But I hope Moon Studios sort of eases up, and if Ori 2 comes out and it's a huge success as well, I hope Microsoft offers them a large check and they accept. I honestly would love to have these guys that are all over the world that work together come together in one studio over at Redmond or wherever they want to build a studio at. It'd be really awesome to get that Moon Studios team signed and locked in for.
You just want Microsoft to buy everybody, huh? Like everybody.
Well, my thing is Microsoft. Listen, after this generation, first of all, after Scalebound's fiasco, okay. So after Scalebound's fiasco, which I literally lost my mind, then they ruined my life with them putting exclusives on PC. So I was a little bit, going through the 5 stages of depression at that point. But once all of that passes and I was able to recover and get back to doing Tick podcasts, they really need to come out next generation and really have some massive hits. Like, they really need to have some big hits. They haven't had a game of the generation yet. They really haven't. They've had some great games. They had some really good games. I think Forza Horizon 3 or 4 are classics without question. Obviously, Forza Horizon 4 is probably the greatest racing game of all time, if not Forza Horizon 3. And it's very hard. It's just really no competition when it comes to the Forza franchises. They're like the king of racers. But Halo, even though Halo is one of the best-selling games out there on the platform, Gears of War doesn't really have that same lore impact that it used to have like back in the day. Ori is amazing. Cuphead is amazing. Sorry, Sam, but Quantum Break just ain't do it for a lot of people. There's a lot of games out there that Microsoft either rushed to try to get the product out, or the quality just wasn't where it was supposed to be, or the content wasn't where it was supposed to be. The quality wasn't there with Dead Rising, though I'm sure the game was popular and successful by financial standpoints. And then Sunset Overdrive was a game that met its quality, but I didn't like the game, and a lot of people didn't buy the game. So it's like, it sucks. And then again, you stuck with Sea of Thieves that came out that had great quality, but no content or low content.
What about We Happy Few? You haven't mentioned We Happy Few. Like, what happened?
I don't really count We Happy Few. That's not really Microsoft's fault. You know what I'm saying? Today, Microsoft didn't have a 360 generation. They didn't have an OG generation where they really came out with something that was impactful. Right now, Red Dead Redemption is selling Xbox One X's. This is insane. That's an insane thought when a massive third-party game is selling your platform, selling your games, and you don't even have the marketing rights for it. Like, think about it. You don't even have the marketing rights. I looked at that NPD thing of the top-selling games on both platforms in the US. Destiny 2 is number 10. It's not even in Sony's top 10. It's nowhere on the list. But it just goes to show you what Xbox gamers are playing and where Bungie's fans are, which is disappointing in itself. So it says a lot. But Microsoft needs these studios. They really need these studios for both Game Pass and their portfolio future going forward. So we'll see how it all turns out. Now, we didn't get no controller announcement. We got no accessory announcements at E3. We got no controller or accessory announcements at Gamescom. Now they did come out with the new adaptive controller, and Microsoft gets lots of props for that. I hope they get a huge award for trying to get every and anybody to play the platform and just make it accessible to a lot of people who are handicapped both physically or might not be able to play games because of different ailments. Does Microsoft come out and announce some sort of new peripheral?
They better not.
Just the mouse and keyboard stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
That's
Just
it.
mouse and keyboard.
Just the mouse and keyboard stuff is fine. That's completely understandable because that's new. Them finally getting that off the ground. But like controllers or headsets, no.
Yeah, I don't want them to overdo that. Like, just keep it simple. Keep it mouse and keyboard. Don't go overboard.
Agreed.
Don't even show that weird, tablet, peripheral that they showed. I think Windows Central showed like this, kind of trifecta thing that you can attach to like a mobile device or phone. Like, don't even show that. Just keep it simple, straight to the point. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. They're going to have their hands full in terms of accessories, like explaining everything to do with mouse and keyboard and what games are coming over with that and how that's going to be supported anyways. So that's more than enough peripheral focus.
What if they actually do talk about xCloud and what they want to do with how you're... Do you think they even talk about xCloud, or do they talk about next gen hardware?
That's no. Okay, so I'll break that because that's two very distinct things. Next gen hardware, no. xCloud, maybe they might touch on it. I've heard from people that I trust that the xCloud announcement was originally supposed to be at XO, but that they bumped it up because of Google and the Google streaming, and that they wanted to hop right in front of that and make it clear what they were doing. So because of that, I really couldn't tell you. I'd say it's 50-50.
Gotcha. All right. So obviously we're tired of Microsoft controllers. Do we agree on that?
Yes, facts.
Yeah, Microsoft has done enough with controllers at this point.
I don't need to see another color. I can make my own colors. Right.
Exactly.
I feel like all controllers should have like a Microsoft check on it, like Nikes at this point. It's like there's so many controllers and so many styles. Like you could just rock them and set them up on your wall. Like you a controller head. It's out of control.
Now, one thing I would like for him to do is to make it so that you can build your own elite controller though. Like, cause right now you can customize your own controllers on their site, but you can't build an elite one.
True.
So,
yeah, that's fair. That kind of thing would be fair.
That makes sense. All right. Banjo. I know we talked about it. What is Banjo? Look, Banjo's in Rare Replay. We had a conversation with Craig. We talked about Banjo. He gave us his opinion on as far as people having what is the word, Sam?
Expectations, or I'm not sure what word you're looking for, honestly.
The word that he used, why they couldn't make.
Basically saying that the team is going to make the games that they want to make. They're going to make the games that they have the drive to make. And if they don't have the drive to make an older IP, that they're not going to make it. Right.
That's what it was. Basically, if the team isn't inspired to make Banjo, they're not going to make Banjo. But now we're hearing rumors about Banjo. So either that's one hell of a boomerang he threw at us, or they were secretly working on this thing, or it's just out there as a rumor and not true at all. If Banjo shows up at XO18 and obviously it's already on Rare Replay, would you guys prefer it be a reboot of the original N64 title in all its glory with new mechanics, basically a pure remaster, new mechanics, all the cool furry effects, the world looks more realistic and cartoony, and sort of this 3D platforming style game? Or would you guys prefer an announcement of Banjo 3? What do you think would be bigger?
I'm going to split the difference and say in the style of what Ratchet and Clank did in the 2016 game, a reimagining, not a remake, but not a new game, not a remaster, like a reimagining of the first game.
Yes, because Ratchet and Clank, the reimagining, as you put it, is beautiful, gorgeous game, like a Pixar movie. So I definitely would want them to do that as well.
And I would say that they would need to do both games like that, and then announce that Banjo 3E is coming.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay, so you're just going all the way then.
Right? That's what I'm saying. What type of insane analogy is this that B Money is talking about?
He wants everything. I respect
that. Announced the remake?
So this is how they could set it up. Similar to how the Spiral games and the Crash games have gotten their remaster and they're totally, remade, with the new shiny paint on it. They could do the same thing with Banjo 1 and Banjo 2, 2E. Do the same thing, and then at the end of the trailer, just have Banjo and Kazooie pop out and just say 3E is coming, and that's it. And that could be the next generation title, you know what I mean, a launch title or whatever the case may be. But people have to know that that's coming. Like just a remaster or remake of the original game, like that would be cool. But people have been wanting the true sequel to number 2 for a long time, and we've been asking for it. So I think we definitely deserve it.
Okay, that's fair. I could definitely roll with that if they do that. I can definitely roll with that.
I've tried to play these N64 classics on play. Bro, I didn't get very far, bro. Like I'm just keeping it 100. Like I didn't have a 64. I'm one of the few kids who didn't have a 64, but was a Nintendo fanboy because I had an NES and an SNES. My stepbrother had an NES, and then my mother bought me an SNES. And one of my first game on the SNES was Mortal Kombat at 11 years old. It was incredible. That was incredible to me at the time. And I even got the blood code from my homeboys at my school when I was in the 6th grade. But I think about all the games that I missed on N64 because I went from SNES to PS1 and skipped 64. So there's a ton of games out there that I wanted to play that I didn't get a chance to play. So when I tried to play it on Rare Replay, man, it was tough. It was very tough. I mean, the pixels, it's hard to go back if you aren't a guy who likes retro gaming. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's definitely hard to go back. So a remaster for me would work wonders. That would be huge, in my opinion, if they were able to remaster Banjo, whether it's 1 or Banjo 2. And obviously, I think that would need to happen before they announce Banjo 3 for all the people who maybe never got a chance to play Banjo. You know what I'm saying? Not saying it's a necessity. Obviously, Banjo 3, if that was announced, would be huge news and would capture a lot of nostalgia for a lot of people, which is something Microsoft needs. But I think that if they did remaster Banjo 1, like you guys said, with the announcement of Ratchet and Clank, what they did with that, the announcement of Spyro, by the way, looks amazing.
Yes.
Oh, that looks gorgeous.
Spyro looks gorgeous. And then, of course, Crash Bandicoot's remaster. Banjo just seems like the perfect time on the 25th anniversary to announce it. Would it be big if they not only announced it, but they said it's launching today on Game Pass?
That would be huge. It's also borderline impossible. I am not letting you get too hyped, Cal. I refuse.
Yeah, man. That's my
I see you, Superman, trying to fly away into
it's my conscience.
I'm going to drag you right back down to Earth.
Oh, the kryptonite is real. The kryptonite is real. All right. Okay, so listen.
So as far as Banjo, who do you guys think is actually making the game if it is coming?
That's tough. That's very tough. Okay,
because
so
did we ever figure out like what the Disney Infinity team was working on?
The Disney Infinity. Studio Gobo, you mean, or Electric Square? More accurately. We know that they were licensed by the Forza team. Like Alan Hartman signed off on their checks. I have literally seen that personally.
Electric Square. And I don't want to talk about Electric Square. I know what
we know that they made that little free-to-play game, the mobile free-to-play game, but I refuse to believe that's the only game they're making. I have a lot of trouble believing that. So now, as to what that means, I don't know. Considering that they made a free-to-play racing game, my instincts are still more along the lines of them doing some sort of spin-off racing title since Forza's taking a break next year. That's my opinion. I don't know. We'll see. I think one possibility could be that we have a team from Rare, like 20-30 devs from Rare, overseeing the team at Playful, who could then be working on a Banjo game, because the team at Playful recently picked up one of the lead designers who worked on Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. He was like one of the creative directors on that. And so if they get a little bit of guidance from Rare, I think that could be pretty big. I can see them being the ones trusted with something like that.
Yeah. That's interesting. That is an interesting notion there, buddy. I don't know, man. I play Super Lucky Tail a little bit. And Yeah, I put that game down after like the first. It's not to say that it's
you saying you weren't impressed?
Nah, you know what? The game overall, the world was pretty colorful and impressive as far as the art style.
Did you feel challenged at all?
That's the thing. I didn't feel challenged. I felt like my son should be playing this, but he couldn't complete it because he didn't know how to read yet. Like he's like only like 4 years old. And there's a lot of dialogue in the game in order to figure things out. So he didn't get it. But it really felt like a game for him, honestly.
Right.
And it just wasn't for me.
That's kind of why I haven't tried it yet. Because, you know, just from like the playthroughs I watched, it seemed like it was a pretty easy game to kind of get through.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm playing platformers, I do want like a little bit of a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So I might try it out like this holiday.
All right, no doubt.
I know I've played through it a couple times, a couple stages rather. Sometimes it switches the view on you because it switched from being a side scroller game to a top down 3D kind of perspective, and I thought that was pretty neat. But to me, the overall gameplay of Lucky Cell was kind of generic, like very, very toned down. Like B said, not enough challenge. Just you could tell they were just targeting a certain audience for that game specifically, and it was just too easy for somebody like me or anybody on the panel. So
right. It's I don't know, man. If Banjo was announced, I think that'd be huge. I think if Microsoft announced Obsidian, that'd be huge. Right now, it looks like this thing sounds like we're already hyping this up way too high. That's how I feel. Just these little conversations we having.
I think everything that we mentioned is not too out of the realm of possibility.
It's not. Crackdown. As we finish up tonight's show, Crackdown. We've been hearing big rumors from Crackdown from Clobrill, who obviously is an avid Crackdown fan. Me, I am not an avid Crackdown fan. I'm probably one of the few Xbox guys that have not been impressed with Crackdown. And probably won't be picking up Crackdown unless they really show me something that's different. I'm not all for I don't get the fun in running around collecting orbs.
Oh man, just being able to destroy stuff. It's fantastic.
That is like borderline like drool. Like you just sitting there with a controller and drool comes out of your mouth. Just explosions, yay. Like I can't do that. I'm an intellectual gamer. I guess that's why I like RPGs and like stuff that makes me think. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the Crackdown fans, okay? Sub to the show. Don't leave the show because I'm trashing Crackdown right now. I'm just not a fan of Crackdown. I just find the whole mayhem thing boring. I really do. And I played it at E3 and it was cool. I felt like if you were a Crackdown guy, you would like it. But it just wasn't my thing. So I think in order for me to be really impressed, because the things that impressed me obviously is Grand Theft Auto, it being made by the original Grand Theft Auto guy initially, before they stepped on and moved on, and Sumo stepped in. I also liked but didn't like Infamous. And the reason why I'm bringing up Infamous is because I feel like Crackdown should be Grand Theft Auto and Infamous has a baby. You should be this superhero super cop that does all these missions and all these quests in this big story, open world game. And that's not what you do. What you do in this game is you literally drive around and destroy stuff until the boss comes out of a building. And I find that utterly boring. And I don't know why people get excited for this game. I really don't.
See, the thing is, we don't know. We don't know what kind of story they put on top of this game.
And that's the thing that I'm waiting for. Right.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, hopefully they show something at XO. Because I don't know what they're now. As far as what we know of what has been announced, they say it's going to be playable on the show floor. But is it going to be multiplayer that's playable, or is it going to be just single player campaign that's playable?
We know it's playable on the show floor. That's all.
That's it. Okay.
That's all.
Right. Now, my thing is, all I want to see is the multiplayer. That's the one thing that will catch me and keep me in the game. If the multiplayer is as advertised and it looks as good as advertised and it plays as well as advertised, I am in, especially on Game Pass. I am in day one. But if there is something where they're like, we only or were able to do half destruction, if they can't reach their goal at all of what they initially presented to me with Crackdown, I will abandon and crap on that game so hard I might lose a few subs, honestly. And the reason why is because of everything that Microsoft talked about in the beginning and middle of this generation, with the whole cloud thing, the technology. Like, I don't think people understand how much work Tick did on this stuff. All the interviews we had, all the people we talked to about DX12 and cloud tech and all this stuff, and for them not to show up and not present this stuff after all this time, I would be truly and utterly disappointed and really feel some type of way about the sort of underhanded communication that was given out by Microsoft. Now, if they live up to expectation and delivers, oh, you will be hearing high praises from me 100%. And I will be in on that multiplayer. But from the campaign standpoint, I got to see some type of story. It's really got to capture me in order for me to be interested in this game. But do you guys think it's a big deal after all this time?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Sam. Go ahead.
If, and this is such a giant if, I can't, this is like size 80 font here. If they deliver on the destruction and the game is fun and it feels fun to play and it looks good in motion and all that, then yes. If they, after all this time, somehow actually knock it out of the park, then yes, it is a big deal. Failing that, I don't see it.
Yeah, I think
I agree.
as long as the game is shown well and it plays well, I think they can knock it out of the park. You know what I mean? If they can give you some sort of campaign, I mean, you got Terry Crews, so there's so much stuff you could do there. You know what I mean? He's such like a cool and like funny dude. You know what I mean? You could have all these crazy like catchphrases and stuff. You know what I mean? Just from him and stuff like that. They could really, you know, play up on that portion of the game and then just deliver on the destruction, you know, like they've been talking about for so long. And as long as people can get in there and have fun and the servers work, then I think they'll be fine with Crackdown. You know, it's we've been waiting on it for so long. You know what I mean? At this point, just spit it out, whatever it is. But as long as it's, you know, it's playable and it's fun, you know what I mean? They'll be fine.
Yeah, just treat it like Sea of Thieves and patch it until it's cool.
That's just savage. That's unnecessary. That's not poor. Hey, Craig, I didn't say that, man. If you listen to the show, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I love Sea of Thieves. Tick Podcast love Sea of Thieves. Anyway, with that being said, let's finish up. What are your final predictions for XO18? Let's start with you, Sam. What are your final predictions of what you think Microsoft needs to have and do to have a good show?
Crackdown 3 Blowout Beyond Blowout, Ori release date and gameplay, Battletoads release window and gameplay, some PC only previous games, some Japanese games coming over to Xbox, and the Obsidian announcement, and one surprise. Whatever it is. I don't know what it'll be, but just one new game surprise.
Damn, I feel I'm gonna have to console Sam after the XO18. I'll be calling Sam. I'll tell you that much. All right, go ahead, D. What you got?
All right. I would say if they need to show Obsidian, talk about if they're working on anything or if the acquisition is true. Fable is what I would like to see, and yes, definitely Obsidian, Fable. In order for them to get a passing score for me, they got to say something about Fable. I mean, Phil mentioned it at E3. He need to follow up on what Playground is doing. I think it's Fable, even though I don't want it to be Fable, but whatever. For them,
so if they just show the logo and just announce it, then you're good.
I'm good. I'm so good on that.
Okay.
And there was another one. Yeah, I think that's a bit. I think that's it. I think that those two would satisfy me the most. So it'll be Obsidian and Fable. Yeah, and Splinter Cell, because I'm a Splinter Cell fan. So
Splinter Cell, Jesus Christ!
I did not say Splinter Cell.
Hey, come on, think about it. Conviction was an exclusive Xbox title, 360.
I was sure that Splinter Cell was showing up at Ubisoft conferences here, and I had my heart broken. So
it's not too late. XO, it could happen. It could happen.
I don't want to hope. I'm too far gone.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. You know, what I mean, everything about that Walmart leak from earlier in the year has basically come true. You know, Splinter Cell, and I think one other announcement is like the only other thing, you know, that hasn't been announced. So I could definitely see Splinter Cell being announced there. You know, what I mean, Ubisoft has kind of been quiet as of late, and since Assassin's Creed released earlier this year, you know, what I mean, it's kind of out of the way, and we know Assassin's Creed isn't coming next year. So I would assume that Splinter Cell would be like their big holiday game. Going into it next year, because I think they have like Skull and Bones and like some other stuff like that'll hit like earlier in the year. So it would only make sense to kind of get that train rolling early and then let that be like a big holiday game for next year. But as far as XO for me, man, as long as you know, Obsidian is announced, as long as there's some Japanese games there, and then I want to see at least 2 of the other first parties show us something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory, or you know, some from Playground, or you know, I mean, if you just show me like a new Gears trailer, like you know, I'm a Gears head, so like that'd be super dope for me.
They already said that Gears and Halo's not going to be there though.
Yeah, that's a disappointment.
Sorry, I mean just.
Well, no, they explicitly confirmed Halo wasn't going to be there. The Gears statement was a little more ambiguous.
Okay.
So we'll see. Halo's absolutely not going to be there.
No. Well, fingers crossed for Gears that Gears is there, and then you know,
Gears Tactics or Gears 5.
Gears 5. They got to show me Gears 5.
What?
Yes.
What is it? What show am I? Time out. What show am I on right now?
That's not unrealistic. It's their biggest game next year by far.
Everything you guys are saying is just unrealistic.
There's no Forza next year. There's no Forza next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
There's no Halo next year. Gears is going to be their big holiday game.
XO, we're gonna come back on this show.
We're gonna be new announcement. We're not saying announce Gears 4 or 5 when they haven't announced it.
They already announced
the game. Exactly. So that's not unrealistic. That's a pretty tame statement, in all honesty.
I'm going to tell you how XO18 is going to go right now. I'll tell you how XO18. First of all, Phil Spencer may be there for 5 seconds, right? He's going to announce the Obsidian acquisition, and he's going to dip if the Obsidian acquisition is true, right? Major Dustin going to come out with these white gloves. First of all, talk about all the stuff they're going to give away, all these controllers to the fans in Mexico. They're going to be giving away all these consoles and all this stuff, all these deals. All right. We're not getting no news on no first-party games. Like, I'm telling you that right now.
Wow.
Throw all that out the window. That's done. We ain't going to hear about no Fable. We ain't going to hear about no Gears. We're not hearing about no first-party nothing. We might get an announcement or a banner for Fable. That's only because Phil said he would talk about that later. Later could have been like later 2019. That doesn't mean it was later in the year for 2018. But we'll just say, just for the hype's sake, Banjo is not showing. I don't think Banjo shows up. I think that's too far-fetched, first of all. That type of thing that happened at XO18 really just seems like it should be in an E3 announcement. I wouldn't be surprised if they say that they're remastering Banjo, but I doubt we see anything on it. I guarantee you we're going to get some new preview game update. Like, this is what we got coming to preview. Something like, Black Desert, whatever that other Blessed Online, that game as well is supposed to be coming to preview. I wouldn't be surprised if that shows up. DLC for Forza Horizon 4. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely going to be there. They're probably going to talk about the DLC of Cuphead that's coming out. That's DLC definitely going to be there.
For Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, DLC for Sea of Thieves. Ugh. That's going to be there. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. How you sound is how I'm going to feel when I watch this show.
Wait. Why is them... Okay, I missed something. Why is them announcing more content for a game a bad thing?
Because they are hyping this thing up way... Microsoft themselves are hyping this up way too...
Where?
If you follow the Game Pass Twitter account.
They hyping it.
Game Pass Twitter account is on point with the hype.
The Game Pass Twitter account showing a loading bar now qualifies for hype.
Listen, no,
they didn't.
They didn't show that. You didn't see the thing when they had the countdown to XO18 and they put hype stickers when they hit day 7?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw
7
that
days
too.
left. Bro, they already hyped. Phil talked about, you want to know what we're doing at XO18? Go look at some of our past stuff, and they show Rare being announced and some other things like that. People are blowing this thing way out of proportion. And I just want people to remember, this is Microsoft. Like, this is Microsoft we're talking about here. You know what I'm saying? E3 is a whole nother animal. I am going into XO18 with the lowest of expectations. I'm talking about lower than Gamescom expectations.
But the only reason I say that there should be something there from first party, because as great as E3 was, from first party, we got the same games: Halo, Gears, Forza. So, what else we gonna get from first party? Like, they gotta show us something.
I mean, they showed some great stuff at this past E3. Obviously, you heard about Halo, Gears, Forza. They had a few other games, obviously preview titles. You had some third-party content.
Yeah, but I'm talking about first party.
I mean, but we know first party isn't there. We've known that for a while. It doesn't mean that they had a bad first party. It's just that they don't really have a diverse lineup. That's something that they're working on and building on.
Exactly, and that's why they need to tease it.
And they had a diverse first party lineup, or at least first party IP lineup early in the generation. It just didn't capture people the way they wanted us to capture people. So they're obviously revamping and trying to go in. But honestly, I just have very poor expectations from Microsoft. I'm telling you right now, if Major Nelson comes out with white gloves, I will end the show. He better not put them gloves on. I better not see nothing. I better not see no white gloves at all. I don't even want to see Rubenstein on the show. I don't want to see none of these Xbox. What is that show called? The show that they do every so couple months. That Major Nelson show. What's it called? X. Oh my
This week on Xbox? I don't know.
You're talking about Major Nelson's podcast.
No. I'm talking about the show that they do.
You mean Inside Xbox?
Inside Xbox.
Oh,
But that's what the show is going to be, though.
exactly what it's going to be.
It's Inside Xbox.
That's what I'm saying, bro. And y'all talking about Banjo showing up and
No, you brought Banjo up.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't bring Banjo up.
I said Banjo.
Hey man, Splinter Cell makes sense though.
Splinter Cell does not make sense to show
It
up.
does. They had the voice actor on the show for no reason earlier in the year, only for some DLC. No way.
That's what they do. It was a setup. We got scammed. We got banned.
Not set us up like that.
You so used to getting like disappointed on these shows. So where
bro, I'm traumatized. I need help at this point.
You cannot bring Michael Ironside out of the woodwork just to say he did the voice for some DLC. There's no way that they did that,
bro. Now you know what's a game that I look forward to. Shout out to Mr. Keemer. Tunic. Tunic was dope.
Yeah, Tunic looks dope.
Now, if they show me some Tunic, I'll be hyped about that. But again, that's why I said my biggest expectation for the show is Obsidian. They announced Obsidian, I'm happy. I don't care about nothing else. This is the only expectation that I have for the show. If they don't announce Obsidian being purchased, or that they have purchased any studios, but Obsidian in particular, I will be really disappointed, and you will be hearing a rant from me on the Next Take podcast. But otherwise, I might let my expectations as low as possible, so I won't be disappointed. I'd rather be shocked and awed than disappointed, and than hype and disappointed. Honestly,
what if they don't announce Obsidian, but then they announce or show something that Ninja Theory has been working on?
I doubt that.
I'm just with that.
Not getting in my head. No, get out, get away from me, get beneath.
I'm rolling.
Not doing it.
Yeah, I'm happy with that too.
Listen, if they do show Ninja Theory's next game, I would be ecstatic. I would lose my mind, clearly. But I doubt it. It just does not seem. It just doesn't seem Microsoft-esque. It just doesn't seem like something Microsoft would do.
Man, this is a new Microsoft.
Right. They don't even do XO. They do XO now.
So. Right. This is the new Microsoft, man.
Man. Yo.
You can't come with that same old energy, man. This is new energy.
Oh, energy. They don't have no. Listen, we are a diehard Xbox podcast. We have been supporting podcasts to talk about Xbox and wanting to see the Xbox to do well and succeed. And we've been pushing all these ideas out that Microsoft don't want to take or has taken and don't tell us that they've taken it and done things, which I can talk about a million times over. There's a lot of stuff that we've said and we've told these guys, and all of a sudden, a year or two later, we see things pop up, which they probably
we need that check, man.
We do need that check, though. Real talk.
Y'all want to check now, so
Bro, we talked about BC before BC was invented, and BC showed up. We were like, bruh. we brought that into existence. Like, there's no way they was working on that. You know what I'm saying?
Not to mention the ghost ships for
CFP. Ghost ships for CFP.
Careful too. So
yeah, we got. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
It would have happened anyways. It would have happened anyways.
We got what's that game again called? What's that game called again?
Phantom Dust.
Phantom Dust. We got a Phantom Dust. I feel like we did a service to the Xbox community on Phantom Dust cancellation. I do. Nobody picked up that game when it was free. Just like nobody picked up that stupid Voodoo Vince. I will never forgive Phil for remaking Voodoo Vince. That is my one thing that I really am disgusted with what they made. Remaster. Why Voodoo Vince? Why not something like Mech Assault or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. That was like, I felt like the guy who remastered that thing was trying to get like a job at Microsoft. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to get hired at some major studio. It's like, I'm going to go ahead and make Phil's favorite game from back in the day. And the game came
right
out.
On that, actually.
Like, I'm serious. And the game came out and no one cared. No, like literally, no one cared for Voodoo Vince whatsoever. Just like no one cared for Phantom Dust. So yes, we did a great service for the Xbox community because we saved you guys from playing Phantom Dust. Anyway, with that being said, low expectations, man. I got low expectations for Microsoft. I want to be excited. I'm still hyped. I think Microsoft's future is very bright. That's why I continue to talk about it. I love the Xbox One X and the platform and what they've been producing over the last couple of years. But overall, man, I just got to say that Microsoft has set themselves up to be in a position to really capture a lot of people going into next generation and recapture some people going forward over the next 2 years before the next generation comes out. XO18 has an opportunity to ride that wave that they have, and hopefully they present something really, really good. But if Major Nelson comes out with them white gloves, it's over. I'm telling you. Just expect to be immediately disappointed with whatever they got going on after that. So my predictions for XO18 will be Obsidian announcement, a bunch of preview games and DLC, some bundles with white gloves, and if we're lucky, we'll see Ashen and Banjo, Ashen and Below being announced on Game Pass for releasing this month for November for Ashen and December for Below. And that's my expectations for them. I really can't put anything else in it. Obsidian being the big deal for me. If it shows up, I'll be hyped. So we'll see how it all turns out. But listen, that's it, man. That's going to be it for tonight's show. It's late, so we won't be doing a Q&A this week. I want to thank everybody for stopping out once again. Big shout out to everybody in chat. You can catch this episode on TIC Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Music, as well as your local what the hell am I talking about? Local, like we a TV show. You can catch this on any app that you want to download, any podcast app, or watch this on your Xbox on any of the podcast apps that you can download in the App Store. Just look up TIC Podcast. Make sure you go and support TIC Games Network, Tick Games Network. We got an awesome staff over there. Guys work extremely hard. Big November, extremely hard. Have a big November coming up. I know Sam and Nick and the team are going to be over there busting their butts, getting out some awesome content. And keep an eye out for our Tick affiliates. Make sure you go out and support the Tick affiliate teams. These guys out there are doing really, really awesome work. We are trying to do the best that we can when it comes to reporting good gaming content without sort of being a part of the crumb side, nonsense side, drama side of gaming. I think there's a good balance between both. You can have your drama side and you can have your gaming side. And I think we're trying to build that network over here on the gaming side. So hopefully you guys know anybody out there who want to listen to great topics and great talk about gaming and less about people and drama. Send them on over to Tick Podcast for all their needs when it comes to Xbox news and content. I want to thank our guest Delilah HD for coming on. Really, really glad to have you.
No doubt. It's fun. Very fun.
And absolutely. And we will be back next week, Saturday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, which is our standard time as always. Make sure you check out our last 3 shows to listen to all the guests that we've had on, as we are recruiting new people to be new panelists on Tech Podcast as we revamp the team for 2019. So I'm your host, Carol XKL, with B Money 101, Dial 484, and Delilah HD. Delilah, do you have anything you want to discuss, let people know about, any shows that you got going on?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you guys know you can follow me on Twitter at Delilah_HD. You can also catch me on Grown Women Gaming Podcast, which is every Saturday at noon Eastern on the Grown Women Gaming YouTube channel. So yeah, that's where you can find me. Also, you can catch me sometimes on Fridays on the GRG podcast as well. But yeah, thank you for having me on, guys, and I do appreciate it.
No doubt. Sam, you got anything going on with Gaming Perspective?
We've got some stuff brewing. We got a lot of irons in the fire with some guides and content for Red Dead Redemption 2. We're going to be rolling out. Nothing in particular I can talk about except my beginner's guide for the game. If you're being frustrated with Red Dead's early hours, I recommend going and reading that. That's on the website right now. We have other things in that vein coming up.
Awesome.
Stuff like that.
All right. B, you got anything going on?
Not much, man. Just check out Brad Podcast every Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this past week gave away 2 copies of Red Dead Redemption. So, never know what's going to happen on BRAP. So definitely come through and check it out.
Shout out to the Tech affiliate, BRAP.
Absolutely. Tell Enrique to work on his questions, though.
No doubt. No doubt. So again, that's it for tonight's show. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great week, and we will see you guys more than likely for XO18 for the XO18 reaction show. Hopefully you guys show up. I'll definitely put a message out where we're going to do that. You can follow us on Twitter at TIC_podcast. That's TIC_podcast on Twitter to get all your news on Tech Podcast when you can catch our show and what we're doing next. All right. You guys have a great night. See you later. Peace.